So yes, today we're doing a beer from Manchester, and quite a well-known beer. So we're actually going to be doing Timothy Taylor's Landlord. And this beer was £2.10. I think most Timothy Taylor beers are £2.10. So this is basically the classic pale ale version, which is a 4.1%, and it's 500ml. And the bit of spill in the glass basically says, the drinker's favourite and the classic pale ale with a complex citrus and hoppy aroma. Landlord was launched in 1952 and has won more awards nationally than any other beer, including Camera Draft, Supreme Champion Beer of Britain 4 times. Taylor's taste is achieved by using the finest natural ingredients, our unique Knoll spring water, the highest grade Golden Promise malted barley, whole leaf hops, and our Taylor's taste yeasts. So there you go. And it's brewed at the Knoll Spring Brewery in Keighley. So there you go. Not Manchester beer, but it's a good Yorkshire beer. So anyway, let's see what it's going to be like. Let's crack it open. But yes, this is part of the kind of Manchester and kind of Yorkshire beer mini series. So this is a pale ale. Let's see what it's like. This is award winning. And it's citrusy and everything else, my god. All this before the craft beer fraternity. Right, what am I getting smell wise? Getting a bit of malt. Get a bit of a yeasty smell. So, not really getting citrus. I'm not even really getting florals. Maybe a little bit of grain and kind of grassy, which again is more hops. But I'm not getting any floralness. I'm not getting any citrus as the hop kind of aromas. So yeah, it's actually quite light in the aromas. So let's see what it tastes like. Right. This is an interesting one. Because again, how it's kind of described in the back isn't quite what you're actually getting flavour-wise. You are getting hops, there is hops there. I suppose you are getting a little bit of citrus, but obviously nowadays when you say citrus, it's hopped out of its tits with hops, and you know, it's really citrus, it's really pungent, it's really usually in your face, and it's just typical kind of craft IPAs, whereas like, let's hop it to death till the point is it's almost barely, you know, almost undrinkable, and then do a happy dance in such a wonderful, you know, creative thing you've created. Even though every other fucking brewery within a 1 mile radius is doing exactly the fucking same, but hey, you know what I mean? It's like you go in and you look at the craft beer kind of section in any kind of supermarket, and it's like IPA, gaudy coloured cans, IPA, gaudy coloured cans, IPA, and it just repetitive, and you look at it, you think, God, none of it actually looks appetising or appealing. But anyway, before I get onto a rant, because I've tried to avoid ranting as much as possible, this does have some citrusness, but it's so light, you're just getting that little kind of citrus bitterness, that little pithy kind of bitterness just near the end. So let's break down the kind of flavour profile. So this is what the class as citrus kind of pale ale and hoppiness back in the 1950s. Okay, starts off with sweetness. Boom, Malty Sweetness. Lovely. Really nice. Goes from that into the mid-tongue. Mid-tongue, the sweetness is still there, it's like an underlying thing. But then the hoppiness is starting to come through. Now, you're just getting the kind of hoppiness, more of a kind of a grassiness. It's not really like a citrus, but it is quite light, but there is that hoppiness coming through. And it's just sitting above the kind of underlying sweetness, that malty sweetness. And it's quite a pronounced sweetness, a lot more than, say, some of the previous ones where they've had, because we've tried quite a few beers around about this area of Manchester and Yorkshire, and have this kind of foundation of malty sweetness. This does have that, but it's actually a little bit more, a little bit sweeter. And then it comes into the aftertaste. And you've got this little kind of citrus bitterness coming through, but again you still have that sweetness in the aftertaste. So yes, you do have the bitterness, and it's kind of a pithy kind of bitterness, like as if it's coming from, you know, the citrus peel, that type of thing, the kind of rind. But it is balanced out again with this sweetness. And then the last thing, when it basically, you know, the kind of hoppy kind of bitterness kind of dissipates, you're still left with that little bit of sweetness still sitting there, and it just makes it really rounded. It really does give it a really nice pleasant finish, because you're starting with that sweetness and you're finishing with that sweetness, and you're just having these kind of accent flavours over the top, and they work well. They're balanced, they're not fighting each other, and it's just really, really nice. And as you can see, it is sessionable. Excuse me. It is easy to drink, but it's also really, really flavoursome. But it's the balance of flavours that make it good, because you can put flavours in a beer lots of different ways, with malts, with hops, with yeast. There's all different ways of basically adding flavour. The difference is getting that balance right, just getting the recipe right so it gives you and delivers what you want, but in a good way, in a controlled and balanced way. And this is what's happened here. They know what they're doing. You can understand why it's won so many awards. This is really nice. It's not strong on flavours, you know, it's not overpowering in that. It's, you'd probably say that some of the flavours are probably quite mild, but the flavours are there. You can taste them, you're not having to go and search for them. They're front and centre, but again, they don't have to be so super strong that they're overpowering. And yeah, it's a very nice beer, it's a well brewed beer, and it's very enjoyable to drink, really, really enjoyable. What would I give it out of 10? For a pale ale like that, how it's tasting, price wise, £2.10. It's quite a bit more expensive than the kind of beers round about it. You know, the beers kind of round about it are usually kind of 170, 180 max. So you're talking about, this is 30 to 40 pence more per bottle. Is it worth that? It is a nice beer, it is a good beer, but I think it's a little bit more pricier than what it probably really needs to be from that point of view. It's not big in alcohol. I'm sure, yes, they're using good ingredients, but I would probably say quite a lot of the other beers that we've tried as well as part of the series have also been using good quality ingredients. So I'm going to give it 7.5. I would probably have given it an 8 if it was below the £2 mark and maybe closer to its kind of rivals in kind of price. But I'd say yes, it'd have to be below the £2 mark. That's £2.10. But again, I don't know, maybe the supermarket's also causing that because it was bought in a supermarket. And, well, you know the kind of demands they can put on breweries and manufacturing companies. So 7.5 out of 10. Will I recommend it? Yes. It's a damn good beer, but at the end of the day, I'm sure lots of people already know that. It's a well brewed beer, it's a nice lively beer, it's really easy to drink, beautifully balanced, really nice flavours, really absolutely enjoyable to drink. So 7.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching, cheers and bye for now.